Well, hello. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you all and blessings to you all. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm glad we meet early. I'm glad we meet at 11 a.m. because I know there's no chance that people just fall in love with the Super Bowl. So I know better than to try and go live during a Super Bowl. Anyway, how is everybody doing in beautiful YouTube land? Hopefully, you are all doing great. I am your hostess with the mostest. It is I, the Oracle of Whimsy. Yes, I am here for you. First conceived in an ancient riverbed, in a land far away from here, and now broadcasting live from somewhere in downtown Portland, Oregon, the greatest city in America, in my humble opinion. And I am here with my familiar, the great and powerful Mila, or as they like to call her in East LA, which is where she comes from, Senorita Mila. Yes, this is Senorita Mila. I have not had my breakfast yet. Haven't done it. Have not had my breakfast yet. I was up late playing on YouTube, which has become an addiction, of course, as it is, I'm sure, for many of you. And I drank too much coffee, too much tea, couldn't fall asleep. And then I also have Audibles. So I've been listening to a book on Audibles, which I enjoy. So I didn't get to sleep until like 2 in the morning. I woke up, I think, at like 9:45 a.m. and sat with my eyes closed at 9:45 a.m. like until about 10. And then I drove myself out of bed with kitty kisses, and Mila had her breakfast, and I made myself a delicious cup of coffee, which I am currently having. Because this is our Sunday show, we are going to be raising money for charity. We are blitzing and playing for charity. And the charity, by popular request, is the World Kitchen. Yes, you guys picked it, and I think it's a great charity. The World Kitchen goes to areas of disaster all over the world and supplies a delicious, yummy, warm, home cooked meal to people who desperately need it. And right now, they're doing some great work in Ukraine. We've raised money for them for the war in Ukraine. And they're now also helping in Syria and also in Turkey, where it is desperately needed. And I see we've already raised $40 for the World Kitchen. So I thank you for that. So if you find this entertaining, if you had any fun today or had a great time, think about donating to a really great cause. I want to give a shout out to Karen Lloyd. Thank you, Karen, for that wonderful donation of $100 to the World Kitchen. I think that feeds, I think they got it down to $2 a meal or even less. So you've fed a lot of people, as did Connie Morris, $50 to the World Kitchen. I think we're definitely going to be reaching our goal today. I set the goal today at $1,000. I don't know if we'll make it, but I always try to aim high. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $20 donation as well. I want to give a special shout out also to everybody who has become a new member and has upped their membership. Much gratitude. It does help me continue to do this, which I absolutely love, and pay for the new computer, pay for the new, boy, we bought a lot of new stuff. I'm now learning how to use I think it's a Panasonic or something. I need someone to teach me how to be a filmmaker because I have no idea what I'm doing. But so that's what I'm up to. Thank you so much, Donald Lambert, for the $20 donation. Anonymous gave a $5 and Anonymous gave a $20 as well. Anyway, I would love to turn the camera around, as they say, and get to know everybody here. Introduce yourselves to the group. This is our Sunday brunch. We are equals, we are equal participants. Please let us know who you are, where are you coming from, what you drinking, what you eating, what part of the world are you in, is the weather good? Oh, thank you, Susan Strickland. Hi, Susan. Thank you for the $20 donation to feed people through the World Kitchen. Yeah, so like I've heard anywhere from 50 cents to $2. So you think $20, what's $20 gonna do? But that could feed anywhere from 20 to 40 people in a disaster area. So I just think that that's wonderful. Looks like Life is a Mindset. Lorraine is having quiche and popovers for brunch, and she's in Thousand Oaks, California. So we all give a hello to her over in Thousand Oaks. Hi, Geocosmic Valentine. Thank you for your help. Hi, Joel Tilson. Thank you so much. Much appreciation to you. Cardomancy Mesquite, Pure Walker, Geocosmic Valentine. Thank you so much. I think Debbie Brady is somewhere around here. If not, hopefully. Oh, yes, she is. Hi. Thank you so much, Debbie. I really appreciate all your help today. Oh, we've got I am eating bagels in Montreal, Canada. Well, that sounds delicious. Who here from New York knows the whole tradition of Sundays, bagels, and reading the New York Times? Multnomah Village. Oh, you're close to me, Karen. She's having cooked turkey soup. Yummy. Sue E donated $5. Oh, white pizza, yummy, yum. Joyce Petrus, delicious. Southern California, Don G is having a mushroom omelet. Okay, we all get to vote on whose meal we want to eat. Lawyer is in Southern California. It's 60 degrees in Southern California. Hello. Grapefruit, popcorn. Oh, yummy, and iced tea. Okay. Spring Hill, Florida in the house. Sue Malik is having cheese and apple. That's a really nice snack, cheese and apple. And if you're vegan, you can do like a peanut butter or an almond butter, depending. Geriatrics Briggs is having chamomile tea. Lovely. Oh my goodness. The omelet sounded pretty delicious to me, but I always have the protein shake. Spirit Beyond the Stars is having the kind of thing that I usually have in the morning. She's having vanilla protein shake with banana, strawberries, and mango. I tend to not have a big breakfast. I will have a coffee till about 11. Is anyone else like this? You just don't have an appetite in the morning, so you'll have, a coffee, and then around 11, 12, you'll have something like a light meal, some toast with peanut butter, which is, I've been doing toast, peanut butter, and applesauce. And I think that's such a nice snack to break fast. Or I have a protein shake. Sometimes I went through this thing where I was really into oatmeal. I was doing these complicated oatmeals. I might get back to that. Oh, Connie Morrison, she's having turkey lettuce sandwich, organic grain bread. That sounds like a nice balance. 33 degrees in Dallas. Wow. Yeah, lawyer, you don't eat breakfast? Me either. All right. So I think we've got plenty of people here. We can go ahead and talk. First off, first things first, who here plans on watching the Super Bowl? Are you Eagles fans? Are you Chief fans? Do you just not care? Are you going to stay with friends and watch the game? I think Linda gets together with a group, right? Is that right? So most of you are going to be watching the game. So maybe when we do some blitzes, we'll try to figure out if it's going to be the Eagles. I'm usually pretty good. I don't know if it's wishful thinking or what, but I'm leaning on Eagles. But who knows? It could be the Chiefs. According to the statistics I've heard, the statisticians, they're evenly matched. Yeah, evenly matched. Hmm. Okay, so the latest in the news, I don't know if you all heard about it. Last week we talked about the spy balloon being taken down, the Chinese spy balloon, and they were analyzing it and they found it had some questionable spy equipment on it. Y'all heard about that. Okay, so we had also talked about the Tic Tacs. People were debating whether or not the Tic Tacs were aliens from another planet or whatever. Whether it was China, whether it was Russia, whether they were spy balloons, cargo, etc. It looks like two objects have been shot down, one over Alaska and one over Canada. The objects are described as the size of a small car, cylindrical in shape, and silver metallic color with there's no outer propulsion. There's no understanding of the outer. Basically, they're Tic Tacs. So they shot down two Tic Tacs. There was also a disruption. A U.S. F-22 shot down one of the Tic Tacs over Alaska because they were basically flying at 40,000 feet. So the concern is that it was going to harm civilian air traffic. It was putting people at risk. The other U.S. military also closed space in Montana due to a radar detecting a similar object off Montana. Like I said, they were flying at about 40,000 feet. Pentagon and NORAD was involved in the incident in Alaska that was shot down. They're now analyzing the debris. The Elmendorf-Richardson Airspace CF-18 and CP-140, I believe, were involved in taking down the object. It was Trudeau that asked the object to be taken down over Canada. So this was the remote we did last week. When I went into the remote last week, remotes are weird because it's the news 3 weeks early, or in this case, a week later. We had talked about the Tic Tacs. And now it appears that two have been shot down. So let's take a vote. Who here thinks it's alien aircraft, and who here thinks that it's a military drone from either China or Russia? And if you were to guess, would you say the military drone is coming from China or Russia? Like, which would you think? So one of the Tic Tacs, evidently, when they were taking it down over Canada, it started scrambling the electronics of one of the jets. So when I went into the remote on the Tic Tac, it moves really, really rapidly, which pulls air into it, which helps with the propulsion. I'm not saying that's all of what the propulsion was, but that's what it looked like. It had a motherboard in the center. It was made of a substance where it could compress down, possibly plastic, so it wasn't necessarily entirely metal. Rubber, which made it able to enter the water without having the motherboard damaged. The concern here is that it's a type of military aircraft that the cargo, we talked about from a remote viewer's perspective, when you go into a remote like this, you need to find out what's the cargo. What is the function? Why is this object you have to ask the remote viewer, what is it doing? Why is it going from point A to point B? You assume there's a reason, and you want to know if it's carrying cargo, what's the cargo? So it appears that the cargo is probably spy equipment, but also some from the motherboard, it seems to be able to interrupt electronic equipment of enemy aircraft. In this case, the US would be the enemy aircraft. So it's it's scary, because if they've been using these types of military drones and spy equipment to enter into US airspace, making themselves look like spooky UFOs, then psychologically they know people are not going to report it because it looks spooky. Meanwhile, it's a military drone. And that means that they've been collecting a lot of data on the US. So my hunch is that it's Russia. And the reason why I think it's Russia, and I think I said that last week, is because they have a real interest in taking control of the Bering Strait. They want to move ships into that area. They do have underwater vehicles, submarines, etc. And so if they're developing some kind of drone that can collapse itself, that has a rubber base and can slip into the water and return back to the submarine, and if they're doing experiments with these types of high-tech military drones, that might be the area. Another place they might be wanting to do experiments would be in some place that's remote, like the Antarctic, where they're not going to be disturbed. They could have a base out there from a submarine in the Antarctic, and they could be doing this kind of military maneuvering and experiments of sending them out, collapsing them, and bringing them back down to the sub without drawing too much attention from another country. And I believe that that is what is going on. I believe they're experimental drones. Some of them are becoming quite advanced. The concern is that from the motherboard, Russia can control or scramble the electronics of a fighter jet. And that's extremely scary when you think about it. So that's my theory. Based on the remotes and based on why I think they're showing up and what they're doing. I think that it was a fake story to try and get people to think it was a UFO, and it was a way to kind of cover it so that maybe not to get, maybe for various different reasons, so that Americans wouldn't know the extent to which they were being spied on by a hostile country, etc. And also fear that a hostile country has developed this kind of military drone technology. Or it could be Blue Man Crew, as somebody said last week. No, it's Blue Man Crew. Well, if it is Blue Man Crew, we're going to find out relatively soon, whatever technology it is, because 2 have been shot down. And I think that more will be shot down. Is it an act of war? Let's talk about that. If it turns out that it's Russia, and that Russia's been spying, and that they're going into these remote areas like the North Pole, the South Pole, with submarines to do this kind of experimenting with these type of experimental aircrafts, entering into US and Canadian airspace to gather intelligence, the other thing that they've been doing is playing with the electronics at military bases, places that house nuclear weapons. Like the fact that they had to close US airspace out of Montana. Let's talk about that. Are we at war with Russia? If it turns out to be Russia, are we at war with Russia? Are we at war with China? What should America do? We can blitz on all of this. This is just the remote. We talked about it last week. Then this week, they shot 2 of them down. So Geocosmic Valentine is saying that it is an act of war. First off, trying to scramble the electronics of a U.S. fighter jet, which could have theoretically cost us the fighter's life. It's an act of war, but we do the same thing. So I think it's pointing fingers. It's a different new kind of warfare, absolutely. Yeah, I mentioned it about 2, 3 years ago that it would come out that it was Russia and that it would get to this point because we did the remote on it. You guys can go ahead. And what it looked to me was a motherboard and it was being controlled sometimes by subs and ships. In this case, we have ships. Russia has ships in the Bering Strait and they have ships in the Antarctic. They have an interest in taking control of the Antarctic because they want to take the resources, oil, etc. All right. China is supposedly embarrassed. That's true, Joel. Part of supposedly why they were embarrassed was because evidently Xi claims he didn't know anything about it, which would be pretty embarrassing. So do you think there's going to be hell to pay in China? Probably. I would think so. So Arlene Forney, that's a great question. Did 45 give information about those facilities, locations, the Pentagon, helping that, if they have such a drone and such a drone can scramble with our nuclear warheads, our fighter jets, etc., is that game over? I think it's a very serious thing. I don't know about it being game over, but it's very scary. I think that we can all agree to that. Thank you, Anonymous, for that donation of $20. I think we'll blitz it, when we get to the blitzes, we can go ahead and blitz it. If anybody hasn't done so yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. I think we're at 179 likes. It would be great if we could get that higher. Also, if you become a member, that would be much appreciated as well. Is Trump a mobster? I think it's starting to look like that. Interesting, Janelle S. Penzito. They have satellites, must not be working that well. Well, the other thing is, could they be scrambling our satellites? This type of scrambling is pretty scary. Michaela, did you want to look outside and see your birdies? There's some birdie outside, huh? Did you look outside? You see the birdie? What's outside? You look out here. You gotta look out there. No? All right. Did you guys want to do, thank you, Anonymous, for that $20 donation to World Kitchen. I think that we should do the Empath prayer, unless you guys want to keep talking about this. And, I got a frog in my throat. I think we should do the community prayer. Oh, a satellite exploded, a Russian satellite. It goes back to Space Force, right? Why did we have to have a Space Force? And everybody was cracking jokes about Space Force, but isn't this why we have to have a Space Force? The balloon was at 50,000 feet. Thank you, Ginny. And thank you for being, Ginny is a recent benefactor, and we want to thank her for becoming a benefactor of the channel. It's greatly appreciated. So I think I'm getting the request here. People would like to get a personal reading. Would you all like to get the community reading now? I'll let you guys decide if you want to do that or if you want to talk about something else, or are we ready to move on? Got a froggy. hate when I get those. All right. Let's go ahead. We're going to do the Empath's prayer. If you haven't, if you know the Empath's prayer, feel free to join me. Thank you, Salty Chip, and welcome to Fairies and Angels. Salty Chip, are you a salty chip? Did someone call you a salty chick? This is really annoying. Don't you just hate those? It's that time of the year when my allergies start to pop up, I think. Oh, my hair looks great. Thank you. I just had it done. 5 of Wands with the bearing straight. That can be a conflict card. Absolutely. All right. I think we're going to go ahead now because we're already at 11:28. Let's do the Empath's prayer. We're going to do a community reading. How a community reading works is that we meditate, we put ourselves into the collective, and we try to pull out a reading so that something in the reading is relevant to you, because we are all part of the collective conscience. Oh, please mute the phone. Is that better? All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. A message from Spirit for this week. Funny miter. Where you are at right now. So we had talked about in previous readings that the next couple of weeks would be really, really rough, particularly for Europe. And that was because when we did blitzes and when we did remote views, we got the tower. And so unfortunately, that is what's happening in the world. We're seeing a lot of violence and we're seeing a lot of fear. And we're seeing a lot of people feeling hurt. And the energy in the collective is that of betrayal. An example would be what's going on in Syria and Turkey right now, where people feel betrayed by Erdogan. They feel betrayed by the government because of lack of preparedness for the disaster, the fact that some of the newer buildings were not earthquake ready. But it can also bleed down into personal experiences where we are healing and recovering from feelings of betrayal. In terms of what could be potentially going on in our bodies, it can be a feeling of being attacked. Now, we get into a little bit of Chinese medicine. In Chinese medicine, the back area is the defense against wind, right? So when you get cold and the wind hits you in the back, you will crunch up like this. And so the wind in Chinese medicine can be an attack against the immune system. And the back area is called Wei Qi. It's the life force or the qi that protects us from assault against the body. So when we get attacked, when we get attacked by wind, wind carries infections, right? The wind carries viruses. The wind can carry toxins, etc. So we can sometimes feel pain in the back when we have an infection. For example, in pneumonia, you'll often get a pain in the back, stiffness in the back when a nerve gets inflamed in the back. Many of you could be having horrible back pains. It could be a time of betrayal, weakened immune system, feelings of being stabbed in the back. And this area here is the area of the Wei Qi that protects us from the wind, which is associated with the swords. So watch your immune system. This is also when the season is starting to change. You can see the beautiful sun coming through. We're starting to see they say after February 2nd is when you start to see signs of early spring, right? So watch your immune system. Healing, the collective feeling is betrayal, stabbed in the back, pains in the back, not knowing who to trust, feeling that one has been foolish with one's previous relationships. The fool walks into relationships is stabbed in the back. This can also be that we've taken off our mask, right? We've taken off our mask and we foolishly walk into crowded rooms and say, oh, COVID is over. I can't get COVID. So be careful about foolish behavior that could compromise your immune system, foolish behavior that could put you in harm's way. Be mindful, be protective of yourself at this time. Where we are at right now, financially, everything's going to be okay for you. Live below your means, live simply, and you're going to be okay financially. Your crossing card is frugality. So I think that's something that we're all concerned about, particularly now, those of us who have pensions coming in, and maybe we have some index funds through our company because they don't give real pensions anymore. The market's been kind of crazy. So there's an assurance from Spirit that we're going to be okay. Just live frugally, live below your means. If you have to do a little side hustle for an extra couple hundred a month to pay for the inflation. But overall, the message here is do not be foolish. Do not be foolish with your health. Do not put yourself in foolish situations that could potentially harm you, whether it's emotional relationships or exposure to toxins, viruses, etc. Live frugally and pull back a little bit on your spending. There is a celebration or joy coming. This can be an armistice card, by the way, in times of war. You guys know that song by Paul Simon? Armistice Day, Armistice Day. That's all I really wanted to say. Yeah, so armistice, dancing in the streets after a war ends. I think that winter is coming to an end. I think that March is just around the corner. I think that this is the last push in the hopes that Russia can win in Ukraine. I think that something like 60 Iranian missiles have been shot down. Iranian-made missiles, ballistic missiles have been shot down. They are really doing that final push with the Wagner Group. We'd also talked about the fact that I did a remote where I was a prisoner in Russia and I was offered freedom. I'd spent my whole life in and out of one type of prison after another. And so, of course, I'm going to take the deal and go and fight. So they're really desperate for fighters in Russia. And we talked about coming in through that vulnerable area, which they're now pushing through into that area. This is their last push, and a feeling that if they've only got 2 weeks until the weather starts to really change, at that point, it's going to be too muddy for them to carry on. And we can see somebody coming and presenting a flag of truce, possibly within the next couple of weeks. They've run out of money. And we have this Armistice Day card coming in, which is a celebration. And somebody loping in with a offer of a truce. Now, in terms of our personal lives, the same thing could be going on. We have to ask ourselves, do we want conflict or not? If we don't want conflict, whether it's getting ourselves sick or getting in conflict with other people, then we want to be mindful and not put ourselves in situations of conflict. Don't play fast and loose with your health. Don't play fast and loose with your heart. Be wise, be frugal. Don't play fast and loose with your money. This is a time, within 2 weeks, we could be moving towards opportunities for peace treaties between the US and Russia, but also that from a more personal issue, it's a time of peace treaties. If people want to fight with you now, pull back. If people have COVID, large gatherings, be careful. Like this is what they're talking about, everybody crowding into the pubs to watch the game. They're actually, healthcare providers are concerned that this could cause another wave of COVID. So I'm going to go ahead and predict based on these cards, because in the 6th house, which is the near future, we have the Knight of Cups. We have Armistice standing in the heavens in the 4th house, that we're looking at potentially within 2 to 3 weeks. The conflict energy is dying down as we move towards spring. And for some of you, it could indicate intensification of romantic partnerships over the next couple of weeks. The other in relationship with you is sending love, and again, armistice. You see all this? Near future, the other in relationship with us, and again here, the armistice. The hope and the fear for the confusion, not knowing what to do. When all else fails, take care of yourself. When all else fails, get down to the basics. When all else fails, be a stoic. When all else fails, look to the basics. What is your debt? What are your assets? Put yourself on a budget. Stop drinking. Stop doing pot. Sober up and get grounded. Because 7 of Cups is when you're all over the place. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Clean your house. Make your bed. Brush your teeth, clean up your daily habits, avoid people who you're having conflict with, pull back over the next 2 weeks and take care of yourself. If you're smoking too much weed or eating too much cookie dough, got to pull back on that. Whenever you are in a state of confusion, pull back, reassess, and take care of you. It's as simple as daily habits. It's that horrible, painful moment when you've got to take a look at the Capital One credit card, or you've got to take a look, where am I holding objectively? If I look at my situation objectively, where am I holding? Because they're saying over the next 2 weeks, Spirit wants you to pull back and just take care of yourself and be cautious with environmental exposures. The final outcome for us, reason. Reason prevails. We have a great president. You know, the Emperor is, I think most readers read the Emperor as just the prefrontal frontal cortex, which is the executor branch of the brain, right? So when we think about logic, reason, okay, how much debt do I have? Time to do the debt-free journey. All right, how much money am I making? I'm making $2,000, $3,000 a month. Okay, and my bills right now are $3,500. Okay, I got to start cutting things. It's that ability to objectively stand back, look at your situation, and pull back from the drama of other people's lives, which is only causing more confusion for you. Take care of your health. Eat a good breakfast, eat a good lunch, eat a good dinner, watch your calorie intake, watch your exposure to toxins. Because the next 2 weeks is intense. It's intense on a global level and it's intense on a personal level. The clarification for you, also be careful about sleep disturbances, anxiety, panic attacks, migraine headaches, hot flashes at night. I'm having a panic attack. Some of you are having panic attacks at night. Stop watching so much news. Also, part of it looks to be adrenal. I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling like my adrenals and my hormones are affected. Do not take on the world. Just deal with your own finances. Be like the Amish, right? I've been watching some interesting documentaries about inside the Amish. They are not of that world. I think they do. I think we are of that world, but they just deal with their life, their finances, their community. I'm feeling like a lot of us are just hooked too much on the outside world. You can see that panic. Oh my, what am I going to do? And again, this can also be when a person, again, you can see the Wei Qi. This is the area of the Wei Qi being attacked by wind energy that's affecting the immune system. This can be somebody with migraine headaches, but it can also be somebody with an upper respiratory infection. You know, sinus headaches, the way she's holding her head. Right? I'm getting a little bit of something myself. So I can't be foolish where I just walk in. I'm not wearing a mask anymore. My sister wears a mask all the time. I haven't gotten COVID. She got COVID. So be careful about that. The other in relationship, hardworking, discipline, the hope and the fear, one's own emotional integrity. You will be successful. Ace of Swords. You're going to be okay. But now is the time to pull back and take care of you. Maybe a little less news because it's starting to, stop. We don't need to be overwhelmed by the world. We just need to take care of us right now. You can't save the world. All right, so that is this week's collective reading. Did it help everybody? Did it give you some guidance? Well, Linda Kingsley, the depression that it was talking about was an assault from the outside world. You could see that kind of stabbing, feeling like the outside world is coming in at you. This can happen a lot because society wants us to keep up with the Joneses, which, I'm a minimalist. I don't live a frugal life though. I mean, like I buy whatever food I like. I know people, if you look at below, what is it? Below the median, is that what it's called? They're living on less than $150 a month to feed a family of four. They're vegan and it's rice and beans and they buy in bulk from discount stores where things are about to go to expire. I mean, that is extreme budgeting. I don't do that. But I think if you are living, 10 to 20% below however much money you've got coming in, if you're living 20% below how much money and you're saving it, then that's called an extreme saver. That's an extreme but for most people, you want to have a little bit of a budget so that you can feel at peace and be careful that you're not. It's very comforting, Linda, when you know that you're going to be okay, that you've got your ducks in a row, that there's that you are taking care of your health, that you're not putting your health in harm's way, that you. I watch The Daily Stoic. I just finished listening to The ego is the enemy on Audible. Get away from ego. My ego is bruised because I don't have as much as Jane. That's all ego. And instead, let's just focus on whatever it is we do and do it effectively. I used to be really into ego, and now I've given it all up because in the end, it's BS. And all and in the end, is any of us all that important? I mean, my job is just to entertain people and be the best. I'm trying to be the best naturopathic doctor I can be, and that's all I can do. Be the best remote viewer. I have a technique I use. I try to do it as honestly and effectively as possible. Sometimes I fall on my face. Sometimes I get it right. And that's in the end all you have control over. Live simply, live frugally below your means. Don't compare yourself to others. Give up ego. Focus instead on doing good work in the world. Understand that there are good people and bad people in this world. Those are the teachings of Stoicism. If you're an emotional wreck, maybe you do need to talk to a doctor. Some medicines can help if you've got CPTSD. I have complex PTSD. I've been very open about it. I was going through a rough time. I had to go to the doctor. And I got help. It's okay if you've got a medical problem. Again, that's the ego. Well, I can take care of it on my own. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe you need to go see somebody to help you. If you're having this much panic, maybe there are medicines out there that, some of the medications can be life-saving. So we want to be mindful of all of that and take a look objectively at your situation, Linda. Are you okay right now? Are you okay financially? Have you taken control of your bills? Have you taken control of your diet? Are you in control of your life? Start with that. And that was the message today. Everything else you have no control over. It's interesting that Putin is developing these types of complex drones, but in the end, do we have control? No, but I trust our president. We have a great president. The final outcome for the reading is this is the time of reason and logic rather than emotionalism. What works and what doesn't work? This is why we don't penalize drug abuse here in the state of Oregon, because it doesn't work. Instead, we think about how can we help? How can we help you get clean and sober? How can we help get you off the streets? Because nothing else works. Throwing traumatized people who've gotten on drugs because they're traumatized into prison is not cost effective, and it doesn't work. So this is the time of reason. This is the time of logic. This is the time of stoicism. And also, according to Spirit, this is the time of the account and the reckoning. We must take an account of our lives and our ethics and keep our own houses in order and hold ourselves accountable to ourselves. I just wanted to give a gratitude to Joanna Frank. She became a fairy and an angel. Thank you so much, Joanna. Much appreciation. I also want to give a shout out to Anonymous for the $20 donation. Thank you so much for that. It was very much appreciated. And of course, thank you to everyone who's been donating to our cause today. I think we're doing pretty good. And yeah. Paxil is great. It's got a bad rap because they were giving it to young people, but yeah, I think that it can be life-saving. And they're actually finding that some of these medications actually help neurons grow. They don't cause brain damage. They actually stimulate neurons that might not have grown in childhood, particularly if you're dealing with CPTSD due to early childhood trauma. And not every medication is bad. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I went to medical school. And one of the big myths is that all drugs are bad. No, they're not. The philosophy of naturopathic medicine is we want the right medication at the right time, at the right dose. The right individual gets the right dose, the right amount, the right medication. And for many people, Paxil has saved their lives. It's one of those medications, particularly if you have anger due to PTSD. It literally is like you finally get to know who you are without the symptoms of the disease. So, yeah, I'm open to whatever's going to work to help you become happy again, because particularly if you're an adult survivor of child abuse, which we get a lot in this community because we are remote viewers, many of us. And, you know, you ask Spirit, why are all the remote viewers foster kids or child abuse survivors? The response from Spirit is, well, it's always been like that. But I think it's more than that. I think that people that grow up where they are constantly afraid for their life or safety or didn't feel safe had to learn to sense danger. They had a heightened awareness. If you have had a lot of predation growing up, you know, where you felt like you were dealing with predators, you might have had to develop a heightened sense of psychic ability to stay alive. And so this is why the studies out of the United States, MK Ultra, they were using foster kids and kids who had undergone extremes. The best psychics were kids who had grown up with predation. This is MK Ultra is what Stranger Things was based on, where 11 was a foster kid and she had had this, because they knew that that population tend to score higher as psychics. So for every pain, there is a blessing, right? So, I was a foster kid, and then I became a remote viewer. So, so yeah, it's. I think this definitely the stereotype is true. Absolutely. Yeah, Lexapro is another SSRI. Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people have myths about naturopathic. I'm talking about naturopathic doctors that have to go to medical school. I'm talking about in the United States, we have to go to medical school. Those are the to be recognized as a doctor. And I think a lot of people are under this misguided idea that um, we are. I've written prescriptions for plenty of things. I'm concerned with helping my patient get out of pain, and that's and sometimes these medications really change your life. And I think, like, again, I think it's just ego. The biggest thing I see with people that don't want to take certain medications, I can do it on my own. Why would you want to? Also, it's letting the abuser or the trauma rule you. And if you lost the first 18 years of your life or whatever the time was that you were being traumatized, you've suffered enough. It's time to let the suffering end and give yourself permission to be happy. And you don't have to fix it all on your own. Ego is the Enemy was written by Ryan Holiday, and he's very good. Well, Carolyn Pooler, welcome to the family. You'll probably make a great remote viewer. It's just, but that's what you go into the remotes and that's what Spirit says. It is as it has always been. It is as it has always been. You know, the remote viewers we have it tough. We come into this world and we go through a kind of hypervigilance. Thank you so much for that, Kitty Connell. Wow, Kitty, that was exactly what I was looking for. This is something you'll see is the hypervigilance. The hypervigilance. You don't want to be paranoid, but that hypervigilance is a great gift when you get the training to be a professional empath. Yeah. Other remote viewers have said to me, I've decided to go on medication. I'm worried I'm going to lose my gift. And I always say, no, you're going to be better. You're going to be a better remote viewer if you take the medicine you need, because you're going to be able to stand back and be objective. So I tend to find that it does not dull your abilities. It makes you a better reader in many ways. Okay. So I'm ready to do some blitzes whenever I get the order. I think I've already gotten a couple questions. Somebody had a question. I can't remember. It was a really good one. Well, it'll probably come back again. Yeah, lawyer, that is definitely hypervigilance. Oh, I've got the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Can you all remember what that question was? Right, Joyce Beatrice, we have to forgive ourselves. Yeah, Donald Lambert. There's also been some studies. This will be kind of interesting if you are LGBTQ. There have been some studies that gay men score higher as in testing of psychic abilities than straight men. So I don't know why that is. You have some straight men that are doing good work. Sterling is straight, and he's doing remote viewing. He's doing work. But is it because LGBTQ people or third gender? You know, if you look cross culturally, most shamans are third gender, most psychics. Is it that when they came into the world, they had certain gifts? Or is it because they experienced more persecution? Or is it a combination of both? I don't know. I mean, I guess I would ask the LGBTQ community because they score much, much, I mean, like out of the ballpark compared with if you have a straight man and a gay man and you're paying them both $20 at the local university to do a psychic test, the gay guy's going to score like 10 times higher. Why? I don't know why. But it would be a nice wouldn't that be a nice thesis for somebody to do? Like, why are why do gay men, LGBTQ men, and women scoring higher than I don't know third gender? Yeah, your kid is third gender, yeah, and will be more sensitive and more psychic on it. Not every single, but they tend to. There's been studies they tend to score higher, and it's cross cultural. So even in the Native American community, if you're gay, you're more likely to be the shaman. So it's not a cultural thing because even in cultures that are not homophobic, we're seeing this phenomenon. I don't know what it is. Isn't that strange? Okay, so we want to I think it's yeah, geocosmic Valentine. It could be a balancing of yin and yang. You know, part of what we do in HCRV is we bring the two energies together, and that is part of HCRV. So that's um, I don't know. I don't know. I wish somebody would do a dissertation on it, but it's definitely. I mean, it's been proven. And it's cross cultural because I'm an anthropologist also, and I studied that. I have no idea why. All right, let's blitz, blitz, blitz away. We're checking the energy out of New York. As I had said, we were supposed to see Fannie Willis, excuse me, filing. I thought she was going to file last week. I got a heads up that she was requested by the DOJ to hold off on filing. We now know that Jack Smith was is subpoenaed a lot of high profile people, including Mike Pence. My feeling about it is that they wanted to hold off until certain people had spoken to the grand jury. And I don't know why that is. Perhaps because they didn't want to influence the grand jury. I'm not a lawyer. All I am is a remote viewer. And it looked to me like there was communication between the DOJ regarding, I'm going to let the lawyers explain this, and asking hold off on any indictments until we get through this witness list from the grand jury with Jack Smith. And it appears that they didn't want to influence them and possibly even make deals of some type or another. So it appears that there's some conflict. That's what it looked like to me. Now, in terms of New York, thank you, Geocosmic, for that question. We have some things going on that are really pretty strange with McGonigal, because McGonigal had access to some pretty serious classified information. This is the FBI agent, for those of you who don't know, who was recently arrested and charged with, I believe he took $200,000 in bribes from Deripaska. And the concern is that Deripaska is linked to the Russian mafia in New York, which was backing Donald Trump. People want to know if this is the tip of the iceberg. Was the FBI in New York compromised? Were there field officers or people in New York that were working with the Russian mafia going after Hillary Clinton? Why would they have gone after Hillary Clinton? Why was Donald Trump their guy? Because they felt that they were going to be protected under Trump? The Ukrainian mafia, the Russian mafia? Yes, sweetheart. I love you too. So let's take a look at New York, what's going on. We do know that the grand jury has the former arrested FBI agent got a lot of CIA agents killed. Really? I didn't know that, Joel. So let's take a look at what's going on in general terms with the FBI in New York, and then we can move on. Feel free to ask as many questions as you like. If I don't see your question, Joel will ask the question, or Joyce, or one of the other moderators, because they can put the question marks up for me. What's going on in New York? The DOJ is very involved with this. That's the first thing. The DOJ is very involved with this. This goes back also to the guy that got fired. I can't remember his name. I think he was Persian. He was investigating Trump out of New York, and he was let go. This is such a huge investigation. I mean, it's absolutely insane what they found out. I think that the shock is the level of corruption out of New York, and the level of corruption with the New York police and the DOJ being in the middle of this. And every time they investigate something, they find something else. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, but you have heartache over the issue. I think that the feds are going to be successful in their prosecutions. You have a 6 of Wands, but right now, look at this, how close-lipped they are. This is like nothing is coming out of them. They're working on more people flipping. Damn. It's over for them. I think we're going to see upcoming charges, and it's not going well for them. Is Alvin Braggs incompetent? Maybe. Preet Bharara. Yeah, Preet Bharara was one of the people. So it was kind of this round robin where anytime somebody was getting close or they were getting closer to the investigation, they would wind up losing. Their seat, and then it would get buried by the next person. So in terms of what's going on strange in New York, I think that there's a lot that's been going on strange in New York. I think that a lot of people were bribed. The concern, though, is that this investigation is becoming much larger than McGonigal. But as bad as this has been, I feel like sanity is returning. You have to realize the final outcome for the group today was sanity returns. But won't it be interesting once we break open those Tic Tacs and figure out how the Russians did the technology? It's very scary, though, that they can use these motherboards and start scrambling with electronics and theoretically messing with our nuclear power weapons and with our fighter jets. It's very scary. All right, this question is from Joel. He wants to know if Joe Biden is going to announce his run for re-election this year. And this is another thing that's come up, is whether or not there's secret concern within the Democratic Party about Joe Biden running again, even though he's done a great job so far. Yeah, he's running. Mm-hmm. I was going to say the GOP, and instead I said the Russians. How's that? The GOP and the Russians don't feel that they can win against Joe Biden. If Joe Biden runs again, they know it's already over and that they're going to see 4 more years of Joe Biden. He's running Chariot. Chariot is to run or to move. So yes, he's running. His opposition, which would be the Republican Party. Do you think that the Republican Party is a mess? Here's the message I'm getting from Spirit. They say the Republican Party is going to be a mess and completely falling apart over the next 3 years. So we're not going to be able to see the Republican Party really recover from this disaster for another 3 years. Backstabbing, right? Dog eat dog. Is there any loyalty in the Republican Party? I don't know. Loyalty to who? What are they loyal to? The hopes and the fears, whether he will hang up the run. They're saying he's going to win. They're saying he's running and he'll be reelected. He's the king of the world. Yes, most powerful man in the world. Let's do a clarification. Oh, there's a crash coming right over Biden. I think it's the war stuff. The enemy will have to abandon. Boy, the Republican Party must be in financial trouble. That's a poverty card. Hopes and fears being able to reach across the aisle. They went too far, and the only way they're going to get their constituents back is moderation. And then the final outcome left in confusion. Look at this. Why did he get a crash? Oh, he will be victorious. It's a war card. So it has to do with the escalation of the war over the next couple of weeks. You got to admit, this is the worst it's been between the United States and Russia. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad. If those Tic Tacs turn out to be spy drones from Russia, this is so bad, and we're increasing troops in the Philippines, Australia. I mean, we are doing everything that you would do to prepare for war. And we could be seeing an increase of troops around Alaska. If Russia is trying to take control of the Bering Strait, they're cutting through ice, they're bringing in special submarines, etc. The drones are now being linked to that. I don't know. What do y'all think? Joel Tilson, do you think that the CIA agents got killed? I don't know about that, but I would like to find out more about that. Is Alvin Braggs compromised? Well, Michael Cohen likes him and feels that he's actually very familiar with the case and very confident about this. Will be his 15th time speaking to them. So let's take a look. Alvin Braggs. This is a good. Don't you guys think today was a good session? I think it was a really good session. No. And actually, Braggs is going to hit it out of the ballpark with the prosecution of the Trump organization. Trump and the Trump organization. Very strong position, looking to overseas connections, following the money. We've talked about that. And his final outcome is the Ace of Wands. So look at that. Money, family relationships, family secrets. Look at this pile of money coming in from overseas. Look at this. Wealth overseas. Pain over a money issue. Yeah, I think that's Trump's card. No, he will bring it on home, as they say. No, Braggs is going to win. He pulled double aces. He's not compromised. All right, Susan Armstrong wants to know about interest rates. Who here is trying to sell a house right now? So we've talked about the interest rates going up. We've talked about the fact that what is it? The interest rates went up and China is going to be trying to sell off some investments. Let's look at interest rates. We'll also look a little bit at the housing market in the US right now. Oh, really, Susan? Interesting. Interest rates. Oh my God, look at what America and inflation. Oh my God, 3 of Swords. The Feds. No, they felt it was necessary. They had to do this. They're not going to drop interest rates. 2 of Swords. Look at the American people. Look at the interest rate. Nope. They felt like they had no choice. They had to do this. Interest rates coming down. Probably not until fall. They had to get control of the finances. It might not be until, well, actually, it could be between fall and spring of 2024. Between the fall of 23 to the spring of 2024, we'll see things stabilize. You can see here the Judgment and then the Spring card. Feds were concerned about a major crash, but the recession isn't happening. There was a New York Times article. The employment rate is too high, and a lot, other things went up because of things we had no control over, like the avian flu killing off bird populations that caused egg and chicken prices to go up. But economic decision that was made, heartache for the American people, inflation, but it starts. They are not going to lower interest rates for a while until they can get control of inflation. That's basically what they're saying. So Oh, Sterling said there's something that could happen in Times Square. Well, I hope not. I know that I think we're in high alert. I think that's very obvious. I think that we are definitely in high alert. Geocosmic Valentine asking about the armed forces in the Philippines and Australia. Yeah, we did do remotes on that. It's has to do with concerns about the threat from China in Taiwan. I think China is going to back down. They're an economic disaster. They don't need to be at war on top of it. They are a mess financially. They have really their projects are so top heavy. They've had run on the banks. They need to go fix themselves. You need some quiet time. They don't need to be at war. They need to diffuse this conflict. They don't need to be at war with the US right now. Okay, Candescent Moon. Right after Trump lost the 2020 election, he unilaterally withdrew from the U.S. from the Open Skies Treaty with over 30 other countries. We no longer have eyes over Russia. Well, I think we do now, don't you think, Candescent Moon, considering the fact that we shot down the air balloon with China's and these two Tic Tacs, which I think are Russia, but we'll see. Will the Fed stop? Okay. Will the banks from buying up housing? God, I would think the banks would want to sell the housing at this rate because it's just so bad right now. The interest rate was 16% in the 80s. Oh my God. That would explain why my parents were so stressed out about the house they bought. Oh my God. There was so much stress in that house. It was years later when I realized that it was most of it was financial because they bought more house than they could afford. Okay, banks buying up housing. There's definitely they're tightening the grip on the Feds are tightening the grip on finance right now. You can see this energy coming over them and wheeling and dealing. It's going to be stricter laws coming in, the power of the people, and they're going to be constricted. So yes, there's going to be some control over it, Joel. Because the average person can't buy a house right now. Boy, Joe Biden is going to do a lot of stuff to help with that. Strong judgment coming. Housing is going to become affordable again in the next 3 to 4 years. We're going to see dramatic drops in housing. So if you want to own a home, just wait a little bit longer because we're going to see some real drop in prices. But now would be the time to sell, I think, if you can sell. Okay, we're going to do a couple more. Do people want me to do the Super Bowl? We'll do one more here. Is Mike Pence going to spill the guts on Trump? I think he's going to have to. But don't you think he would fear for his safety? Mike Pence. Yes, he's going to spill the beans. He's going to receive a lot of protection from the feds. He's going to be okay. Ace of Wands. He's hung up the president and any loyalty. He's handing over all documents he has. It's a new beginning for Pence, and he's no longer going to be political. He's no longer going to be a political person in the Republican Party. He's cooperating. He's pulling back and he's increasing his security. I don't see him running for. Yeah, he's not. I don't see him having a political future. I think he's going to leave politics. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to ask Spirit who is going to win the Super Bowl. Is it going to be the Chiefs or the Eagles? I have no idea. So the first cards are going to be Eagles. Will the Eagles win the Super Bowl? I'm rooting for the Eagles. I'm going to clean my house and watch the game. Eagles. Will the Eagles win? Okay, traveling. Chiefs are strong. I think that the Eagles could win because the Ace of Pentacles is there. But look at their opposition. Their opposition is rough. Look at that King of Wands. The Chiefs are very strong. They could be a little tired because of travel. Let me do a clarification on this. The Eagles. A little confused. It looks like, boy, Kansas is really strong here. Boy, they're both really well matched. It's not like, didn't they say the odds were the same with both of them or something? Oh my God. Well, they say that Trump is a child of Oshun. You know, Oshun has a positive aspect and a negative aspect. But he's obviously a child of Oshun. And Oshun loves opulence and gold and yellow and orange, like his hair. So most readers who study the Orisha say that his mother is Oshun. He's a child of Oshun, but Oshun in a low vibration is a courtesan who likes nice things, willing to sell their wares to get what they want, the gold, the golden dress, the pretty things in life, the opulence. All right, let's look at the Chiefs. This is going to be a heck of a game. Wow, the Chiefs are strong. They have incredible stamina. I'm worried about injuries with the Chief. There could be a major injury. It looks like the Chiefs lose because of a major upset that takes place, possibly in the middle or towards the middle of the game. You can see a tower happens to them. But look, their opposition is also heartbroken. Hopes and fears winning, but then they have grief. There could be an injury. Oh, they're Missouri. Why did I think that they were Kansas? Oh, they're Missouri. I'm sorry. Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. You know, it could go both ways, man. If the Chiefs win, the Chiefs could win with injuries. The Chiefs look like they're in better physical shape than the Eagles. The Eagles look a little tired. I don't know what the traveling conditions were like for both of them. Oh, Rihanna. Oh, that's going to be amazing. God, the Chiefs are so badass. I mean, their cards are so strong. I don't know. My gut says Eagles. My cards say probably the Chiefs. I don't know. But see, I'm biased. I'm going for Philly. I'm going for Pennsylvania. Pray for no injuries. There is a tower over the Chiefs, so there could be a bit of a rough upset. All right. Thank you, everybody who participated today. If you would like to get a phone reading with me, I'm available for phone readings. The information is below this video. I call you. And you have to, I'm in Portland. So if you're on the East Coast, you have to add 3 hours, or no, take away 3 hours. So no, how's it go? My 9 a.m. would be your 12, right? Something like that. Take away 3 hours. If you would like to get a 5-minute pre-taped video, I think they wrote about $25-$30. You can get those through Wizio. That information is below. I will be out of town from the 17th to the 27th in Mexico City. And this is the last major trip I'm going to be taking for like maybe a year, because I have spent too much money. Time to build my, I'm listening to Spirit that's saying, pull back, Whimsy. You got to be frugal. You're spending too much money. You're being irresponsible. I'm like hearing the message. So even though I got a great deal on the tickets, but yeah, so my last vacation for a long time, 17th to the 27th, I'll be in Mexico City and Puerto Escondida. And then, so if you would like to have a reading with me, I'm available to the 16th. And what else? Oh, if you need to see me as a doctor or a medical intuitive, that information is also below. And sometimes people do a combination. They want a reading and medical intuition, and that's cool too. All right. Love and light to you all. Have fun. Stay safe. If you see if you see the Eagles or the Chiefs doing anything, don't try and emulate it at home. They're professionals. Don't go. I see people, they get crazy in their yards. Don't try and emulate it. All right. Thank you so much, Debbie Brady, Joyce Pietras, for your help. Joel Tilson, much gratitude. Geriatric Briggs, thank you so much. Geocosmic Valentine, Cartomancy Mesquite. Joyce Pietras, I think I got to you. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I had an awesome possum time, and I hope you did as well. Be safe, love one another, take care of yourselves above all else, and we will see you next time. I'm out of here.